Well, hello everybody. Thanks again for coming to our Protractor webinar series for the 2017 year. We're going to go through dashboards today. This is kind of a follow-up to the last couple of webinars that we did on reports. And some of the stuff we're going to work on today is to take some of those reports that we built in our previous webinar. You guys may remember the key performance indicators. We're going to take some of those reports and show them how to put them up on a dashboard. As always, we're going to try and hold our instruction to about 45 minutes and leave some time for questions at the end. And as you guys all know by now, all the recordings, there'll be handouts on some of these, will all be available on the help system under the section webinars. So you guys can always refer back to that and if you wanted in your staff to watch those things. So let's go ahead and get started for today. Our agenda today is going to cover dashboards from the Shop Manager template, past and future. This may not make sense to you right now, but we've had a big update this past weekend that changed some of the ways the dashboards work, and I wanted to spend a few minutes to show you guys how to bring your dashboards up to date. We're going to cover building dashboards, so we're actually going to go through and build a brand new dashboard. I never knew what widgets were either, so any of you who are wondering what a widget is, certainly we're going to cover exactly what those are. Arranging the dashboard widgets so you can move them around and design your dashboard the way you want. Editing and removing widgets, so if you wanted to add a new one, if you wanted to make an edit, or if you even wanted to get rid of one of them. Editing and deleting dashboards themselves. We're going to talk about the ability to print. You can also export your dashboards to a PDF file, and you can even set them up to email. And we have the ability also to export and import dashboards, and I'm going to show you guys how that works today too. And we also have the ability, which isn't that old, of a new feature, which is the ability to deploy or share a dashboard with another one of the users. So if you created a dashboard and you wanted to share it with your service advisors or technicians or anybody else, we have a real simple process, and they're called deploying. So let's go ahead and get started. I want to review dashboards, and I don't know if you guys are struggling with this, but when dashboards first came out in the software, I didn't really understand what a dashboard was, so I thought we'd take a minute to review that. Shop Manager includes dashboard features which provides an at-a-glance view of various types of data with the ability to automatically refresh that report, meaning have that report refresh every 5 minutes, have this report refresh every 10 minutes or every hour. So you can leave that dashboard up and it's going to automatically refresh in the background. You can go back to it and see the most updated and current information. Dashboards also consist of one or more widgets. Each widget is built upon a report which you can then customize very much like the options available in the reports. This is what we've spent the last 2 webinars on, and you can set those reports up, customize them right from the dashboard, and we're going to wing one of those today. You can also add, edit, and delete dashboards, and also arrange, configure the dashboards in any way you want. We're going to spend some time on this. You can deploy, that's what I was talking about a minute ago, where if you create a dashboard, understand those dashboards stay under the security login that built the dashboard. So if you log in under your security login, that doesn't mean everybody else has access to that dashboard. That's where you would either deploy that dashboard to anybody else you want to be able to use it. There's a very important part in this discussion here with sharing or deploying, is that if you're going to deploy or share a dashboard with another user, you need to make sure that that user that you're sharing it with has those reports active in their security, because if those reports aren't activated in their security, they're not going to be able to see that report on their dashboard. And this is one of the new features we're going to spend some time on and actually dive right into. Is there's a brand new feature called the Global Date Range Control for dashboards. Brand new feature came out this last week, and so that's why we've kind of been holding off on the dashboards, and that's where we're going to start talking about this. So I want to start with a poll question. Jeff, if you want to bring that up. We're just wondering how many of you guys, or how often you use the dashboards. The questions are going to be on their daily, weekly, monthly, or never used the dashboards before. So we'll let that one run for a few seconds here, and then we'll come back. All right. So about 30 seconds in, 92% of the people have placed their results. I'm thinking you guys can see them. 42% of the people run dashboards daily, 6% weekly, 9% monthly. And this is why we want to do these webinars. 42% of the people say they've never used or don't use dashboards. So this is good. This is what we need to know, and hopefully after today's webinar, you guys can start picking up on a little bit more of that. So just to review on this, really 42% run daily, 42% never use the dashboards, and then there's a small percentage that run weekly and monthly. So let's dive right in. I want to talk about what comes out in your template. So everybody on the meeting today, you have dashboards in your system. When we set up your database, we set it up with 7 different dashboards. There's a dashboard to run daily, yesterday, this week, last week, this month, last month, and year to date. Why would we do 7 dashboards, pretty much reporting the same information but on different time intervals? That's because in the older software, before this update this past weekend, the date ranges were a little bit tricky to change. And we had people that would go in and try and change them, and they'd delete the dashboard accidentally or mess it up. So, we worked the best we could with that. So therefore, we created 7 reports with the specific date ranges that you see, and with refresh intervals built into them. So what we want to talk about to start this webinar today is that you don't need 7 reports to report the same information. The new global date range feature allows us to take one of these reports and simply identify the time frame or the date range that we want to look at that on. So this past Sunday, we had an update to the software. I'm assuming you're all getting these notes when you log into your software. Every time you log in, you should be it's called a welcome screen or splash screen should pop up on your computer screen when you open the software, and it would tell you if there was an update done and what the update notes were. So if you're not getting that, let us know, because that is your only notification that an update was done. So let's talk about the global date control and how we can help you guys get your dashboards, the templates that are in your dashboard set up. So the date range says you can now place a date range controller onto the dashboard that will control all widgets that are synchronized with it. And I'm actually going to show you this here in a minute. Open a widget, use the dashboard date range box on the widget setting panel at the lower left. An icon will be displayed in the tooltip listing all of the widgets that are running underneath that date range controller. This makes it very clear and easy for all the users to see what reports are running from the global date range or what reports have their own date range inside. So now there's no need to have 7 specific reporting periods. All we're going to do is reset the date range at the top of the dashboard, and the dashboard reports will now update. Okay, so excuse me, I went too far. I wanted to back up a notch here, and I actually want to go in and show you guys how you can go in and do a little cleanup. So let's go into our software. I'm just going to open up the dashboards, and as you can see under the dashboard name, there are the 7 reports that we put into everybody's software when you get the software. Each one of these was designed to run on a different time frame. So if I wanted to look at last week, then I would have to click on last week, okay, and that information would pop up. So here's the change, and here's how we can clean this up. I'll try and go fairly slow. But listen, guys, if you mess this up, don't worry about it. It's not, we can re-import the dashboards. We can help you set them up. I'm going to take the year to date. It really doesn't matter anymore which one you select. Now this one takes a second because it's going back to January of this year. To set up the new controller, what I'm going to do is go to the little wrench on the widget. These are the widgets in here. And I'm just going to click on that wrench, which allows me to go in and make edits to this. This button right here is the new feature that was added. So what I want to do is I want to check that box because I want to run this report based upon the global date range setting. Here's my refresh interval, so I can say how often do I want this report to refresh, and you guys can choose from any of these you want. You can leave them where they're at if you wanted to. What you don't want to do, or unless that's your choice, is leave it on manual. If you leave it on manual, then you're going to have to go up here and refresh it yourself. So I'm going to set mine to refresh every 5 minutes. I now have the ability to change the name because I don't need 7 reports. So I'm going to get rid of the number 7. I'm going to go over here, and now the frame on this could be any period of time, so it's not specific to year to date. Okay, and now this report is pretty much ready to go, and I'll just do an execute. Again, it's collecting all the information from the year, and I'll click on save. By checking that box, notice what happened. I now have a date range on the top of this dashboard. I also want this widget to run under that time frame, so I'm going to go into the little wrench on it. Okay, I'm going to get rid of the number 7 because, again, this is not year to date. It's whatever period of time I want. This is up to you whether you want to do that or not. And I'm going to say, let's let this background date range control this report too. I'm going to do an execute, so it'll accept this new information. And again, it's collecting a lot of information, and I'm going to do a save. Now, when I want to run this report, I can select any period of time. Unfortunately, guys, the database I'm using has not been updated since our last webinar, so I'm not going to have any sales for today or this month for that fact because this database was built last month. But if I go in here and say, I want to look at this quarter, okay, now both of these reports are looking at this period of time. If I want to look at this year, I can run the report, and now the report is going to give me the information for this period of time. So now all I need is one vital signs report on the dashboard, and it'll run for any period of time. What I can do over here on the actual dashboard name, I can do an edit, and I can get rid of the specific information because, again, I'm only going to need one report now. I don't need 7 of them. Okay, and by changing that name, again, if we look at what we had, these different time frames, I don't need those reports anymore because I can set those time frames right here on this one report. If you wanted to continue to clean this up, you could even go back, take those dashboards and delete them out and clean your system up. And listen, guys, don't worry if you mess up. I'm going to get rid of number 1, number 2. I'm going to get rid of number 3. I'm going to get rid of number 4. I'm going to get rid of number 5. And I'm going to get rid of number 6. Okay, because I only need 1 now, and I can control my date range with the global setting right here. If you guys wanted to give that a try, great. If you want to leave it like it is, no harm done. But now I've taken 7 reports, turned them into 1, and I can look at any period of time that I want to look at off of this one date setting. So hopefully that'll allow you guys to do a little cleanup on your system if you wanted to. It's not required. You can leave the 7 reports in there if you want. Those are your choices. Let's go back to the presentation here and go ahead and move forward with this. All right. So that's what we talked about. Use no need for 7 reports. You can work off 1 report.